morning, friends, and welcome to the next episode of the Leadership Launch. And today I'm so happy to present to you Mr. Raghav Koushik, my partner and co-executive director of the BNI Kanchipuram Chengelpet region. Hi, Raghav. How are you?
Hi, good morning, Subhash. Very good. Top of the world. How are you?
Fantastic, Raghav. Thanks a lot. Let me professionally introduce Raghav to you all. He is a management consultant by profession since 2011 and has some prestigious clients to whom he has consulted, like the Ummadi Bangaru Jewelers, VBJ, and the Vasanta Bhavan Group of Hotels, and Dhaba Express, and Prudel Hospitality. He specializes more in the hospitality segment in consulting. He is also a Thomas Certified People Assessment Professional, and he specializes in writing business plans, standard operating procedures, SOP, and strategic review systems. He also offers sounding board services to the management boards at their board meetings and helps them create and review strategies because his consulting firm name is STRATERGYM. Yes, Raghav. I have a very important question to you, Raghav.
Yes, Subhash.
A lot of them are starting off new businesses, right? So there is a common question that a lot of them say that I'm a startup. And a lot of startups are, of course, coming up in India. And my question to you is, anybody who starts up a new business, are they a startup? Or is there some kind of a definition of who is a startup? Can you throw some light on that?
Fantastic, Subhash. We'll definitely talk about it. And to start this program with this line is very interesting, right? Every business which starts new is not a startup.
Okay.
Interesting, right? And let me tell you, Godrej calls themselves a 100-plus-year-old startup. Interesting, right? Now, why do they call themselves like that? A startup, according to a definition, is someone who's having a new idea or innovation that can disrupt the market. It's not like I'm starting a new restaurant business or I'm starting a new, a saloon business. I'm starting XYZ business. I'm a very new, so I am a startup. No, you don't run a startup. You run a run-of-a-mill business. A startup is something that is an idea which can disrupt the market, which is something very innovative, and in turn can become a unicorn. Like you said, there are many unicorns in India right now. Some of the top unicorns are from India right now, which attracts lots of funds. So that's where startup is. So I hope I've answered your question to startup is not new.
Got it. And in fact, I remember I read somewhere that GE calls themselves as a 130-year-old startup. Very interesting definition that you shared, Raghav. Now, my next question is, what are the typical challenges that these startups go through, Raghav? I'm sure you would have come across a lot of such challenges in your consulting journey. And you would have seen a lot because I know you are an extremely well-read person. So can you throw some light on the various challenges that these startups normally face?
Absolutely. The first biggest challenge that any startup faces is lack of capital. There is no money to get themselves started. They have great ideas, but they don't have money. And once they have money, many of them don't have money to run operations for a long time. Okay. Some of them even have some money to start up. They invest. They have a great idea, but somehow they don't sustain because they don't have money to run the operations. So the capital expenses and the operational expenses are the first biggest challenge that any startup faces, right? But these challenges can be easily overcome, Subhash. It is very simple. If like one of my favorite books, it might be fiction, is the Harry Potter series, and the main character Dumbledore says, if you ask, it shall be given, the help shall be provided. In today's world, with so much of earning potential and so much of people across the world with a lot of money are willing to invest on great ideas. You only have to have amazing disruptive ideas. And if you're able to get professional help in understanding what is the kind of capital investment you need and how you need to have operational investment for the next maybe couple of years to run it and present it in a beautiful way, there are many investors who are ready to invest. That is the first biggest challenge I face, the problem of money. Right. The second challenge that most of the startup face, because people with innovative ideas, tend to jump up with different ideas. I hope you understand. You're working with me. They kind of jump. I have this idea. No, let me go to another idea. No, let me go to a different idea. No, they have this different ideas, so they tend to jump. So lack of single-minded focus, okay, is the biggest one with respect to startup, because these guys are, people with great ideas. So focus is the second biggest challenge startups faces. They tend to jump ideas. The third interesting one is lack of good people, right? When I say people, there are two kinds of people I talk about, Subhash. As good startup need to have good partners. I'm not telling individuals don't have great ideas or don't great concepts. I'm talking about in general. I'm not telling it. I'm telling as a thumb rule. Okay, a good startup should have a partners who work as yin and yang. For example, if somebody is very good with ideas, another person should be very strong in operations, should be very strong with respect to handling money, should be very strong with respect to asking questions, so that there is checks and balances when the startup grows, and it gives a lot of investor confidence also, right? That's the first kind of people. The second kind of people you need to look at is the people who's going to support you, which I call a second line. If you have a strong second line, you can replicate the business. And strong second line, in fact, gives a lot of confidence to investors to bring in money. That is where businesses are replicatable. That is where ideas are replicatable. In my experience, Subhash, people fitment plays a major, most interesting role. And you have to identify the right kind of people with the right kind of attitude who fits you, right? Not everybody, Sachin Tendulkar, need not bat at 10, or a Venkatesh Prasad cannot open the batting. If you take a cricket example, no, you should know which person fits where and for what purposes, why they are there, right? Let me give you an interesting example of what's happening in cricket. Maybe cricket is a great analogy that most of them would understand in our country at least,
Of
right?
course.
Where India recently toured South Africa, where the wickets were very bouncy, and they had KL Rahul doing the wicket keeping role. When
Yes.
they came to India, they have replaced KL Rahul with KS Bharat. KL Rahul is still playing as a batsman, but they have a specialist wicket keeper because they felt in turning wickets, you need to have a specialist wicket keeper, right? So, what kind of startup you are? Are you a technology startup? Are you a bio startup? So, it depends on what startup you are and what kind of people fits your second line plays the most important thing. People don't give importance to second line. I believe that both the people side, one is the top people, the person whom you are going to be with, the yin and yang, and the people whom you're going to work with are the two important aspects of a startup. This is the challenge, other challenge people which they have to overcome. Most of them, kind of don't cross this barrier of having the right second.
Okay.
After this comes the competition, right? Now, what happens is that people first initially thinks competition. Most of the startups fail, Subhash. They will have an idea. They would like to bring it out. They would like to bring the idea out. Before even they bring the idea out, somebody would have already got that idea out in the market because they already have a better market strategy. They have a bigger plan in place. Now, as a person who is running or having an idea of a startup, should be very vigilant with respect to competition and what is coming out in the market. They should be well read. They should have been well researched. They should know who's coming and who's not coming. Okay. This is another interesting point which I wanted to share. The last fifth point is very interesting is the system point. Okay. There should be enough systems in place. Okay. The systems and processes are once again which gives lots and lots of confidence to your investor. If you
Okay.
have system, that means you are not people dependent. Okay. Let me give you an interesting example. Apple, we all know Apple. Apple is still a startup. You agree with me, Subhash? They are one of the
Yeah.
most innovative innovations. Yeah, they are always an endless startup, right?
And
Uh,
more than innovation, they keep challenging themselves very
Absolutely.
often, right? And they are always on the top. The company with the highest market capitalization in the world.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you a very interesting question. Who is synonymous to Apple with respect to leader? If you say Apple, which leader in Apple comes to your mind?
Still, Steve Jobs only comes to my mind.
Steve Jobs comes to your mind, right? Now, if I'm going to tell you for a long period of Apple's development, Steve Jobs was not part of the Apple's board. He was thrown out. You will be thrown out is the right word. He was
Okay.
pushed out of the Apple board.
Uh,
Okay. If not, I would recommend you to watch the movie Steve Jobs. It's easier to watch. There are books, but watching the movie is better. Without Steve Jobs, Apple still survived. We might know Steve Jobs as a leader, as the most innovative leader. He is the master behind innovation. But even without him, Apple survived. That's because they had a very good second line people. They had an amazing team and they have super systems in place,
okay.
brilliant systems in place. And when you say system, one of the systems brings out the right pricing strategy also. When I say pricing strategy, the most important thing about pricing, people talk about a lot of things. You should have a right balance between that you should earn profits. At the same time, your customers should be able to feel that they are buying the product or the service at the right cost.
Correct.
Right? It is very important you do that. The balance should be there. For this, you need to know what is happening in your business. There has to be a great review system. So, all those things, system plays a very, very, very important role, Subhash. Now, these are the important points which I wanted to share for a startups to be successful. There are many more nitty-gritties, but these are the top 5 or challenges which if a startup can, work on, they can be extremely successful. Right? Over to you, Subhash.
Fantastic, Raghav. Thanks a lot. You have beautifully shared the top 5 challenges to again probably put it in a nutshell. The first most important challenges that the startup face is with respect to the capital, the money. But again, it can be handled as you rightly said. The second is having lack of focus.
Yes.
Too many ideas sometimes, they say too many cooks spoil the broth. So too many ideas. So having focus is very critical. And the third important is having the right kind of people, be it your partners or be the second line of people or the people who are reporting into you. And fourth is keeping an eye on competition so that you stay relevant throughout in business. And the fifth most important, as you rightly said, is having proper systems so that you have a process and pricing, everything taken care. And I'm sure reviews and all that also comes as a part of your systems putting in place. But Raghav, now I want to ask you one of the other most important question, that is, you very beautifully said the second challenge. People have lots and lots of ideas and sometimes they lose focus. So let's say I have an idea, I want to create a startup, but I don't know how to crystallize my thoughts and put it across. Probably what is it that one idea that I should start off? This is something that I want to discuss with you in detail. But my dear viewers, whatever we have heard from Raghav as the top 5 challenges, what is your thoughts on that? Please do share with us on the comment section. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit the smash button, the like button, and share this with all your business friends and entrepreneurs. And stay tuned for the next episode on the leadership launch, where I would discuss with Raghav and ask him on how he can help us crystallize our thoughts and bring in more focus. If you have lots of business ideas and wondering what is that business idea I should start off with right away in the market, stay tuned to our next episode on the leadership launch. Till then, thanks a lot, Raghav, for joining us this week. And my dear viewers, have a fantastic week ahead. Thank you, Raghav.
Thank you.